Have you ever felt like you're carrying something heavy? Something invisible? A weight that nobody else can see, but it follows you everywhere? I used to call it just being me. I laughed it off, brushed it aside, and told myself it was normal. But deep down, I was carrying ghosts. And those ghosts, they were quiet cries for help. I didn't even know I was screaming.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing something deeply personal, something that took me years to understand. It's about the everyday habits we all have, the ones we laugh off as quirks, the ones we think make us, us. But what if those habits are actually signs that your mind is quietly asking for help? I'm going to take you through my journey, a story of realizing that what I thought was just me being lazy, overly sensitive, or a bit quirky was actually my brain trying to survive. This is for anyone who's ever felt like they're falling apart inside but still smiling on the outside. Let's talk about the ghosts we carry. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see them differently.
Growing up, my parents called me lazy. I'd come home from school, exhausted, emotionally drained, and just collapse. Homework? I'd push it off. Chores? I'd make excuses. I genuinely thought I was just bad at life. By my 20s, that laziness turned into something heavier. I'd start a new job, full of energy, only to crash into burnout weeks later. One time, I didn't show up to work for a week. I told my boss I had the flu, but the truth, I couldn't get out of bed. I was so depressed, so overwhelmed, I felt like I was drowning. It wasn't until a friend, a psychologist, sat me down and said, "This isn't laziness, it's executive dysfunction." My brain wasn't avoiding tasks because I didn't care. It was in survival mode, trying to protect me from drowning in stress, in trauma, in unprocessed pain. Executive dysfunction is when your brain struggles to plan, prioritize, or start tasks. It's not about being lazy, it's about your mind being so overwhelmed that it shuts down to cope. I had no idea. I thought I was just broken. And I wasn't alone. My friend Nikhil, he seemed like the most high-functioning person ever, always on time, always helping others. But one night, he confessed something that broke my heart. He hadn't asked for help in 10 years, not once. When he dislocated his shoulder moving furniture alone, he didn't even call an ambulance. He said, "If I bother someone, they'll hate me." That wasn't independence. That was hyper-independence, a trauma response. How many of us wear our struggles like a badge of honor, not realizing they're cries for help?
I used to replay conversations in my head. Not because I wanted to, but because I was terrified I'd said the wrong thing. I'd lie awake at night, obsessing over a casual comment, a silly emoji, or accidentally bumping someone's shoulder. It felt like my brain was stuck in a loop, punishing me for being me. When I was doing my master's in the US, I got a B+. Just a B+. And I didn't sleep for 2 days. I cried in the shower, not because I was disappointed, but because it felt like my entire worth, years of late nights, part-time jobs at gas stations, sacrificing sleep, was crushed. I thought I was just driven. Turns out, I was anxious. One day, my roommate caught me mid-sentence, eyes glazed, mouth open. "You there?" he asked. I wasn't. I had dissociated, mentally checked out, like I was watching my life from behind a screen. I thought everyone did that to escape, but my therapist later told me, that's not normal. It's a sign your brain is trying to protect you from overwhelming pain. My cousin Arthi was the same. At her wedding, she was glowing, smiling for every photo. But later she told me she'd been mentally mapping out an escape route the whole time, just in case the panic became too much. She was a high-functioning survivor, smiling through the chaos in her head. We don't yell, we don't crumble, we smile, and we dissociate. But those moments, they're not quirks. They're signs we're not okay inside.
In college, I'd joke about talking to myself. I'd have full-on arguments in front of my mirror, pacing, gesturing like I was on a TED stage. My friends thought it was hilarious. I thought it was just my quirky personality. But one day, I told my mom about it. Her face changed. She said, "I used to do that too, until I heard a voice that wasn't mine." That hit me hard. It wasn't quirky. It was a coping mechanism, a way to process emotions I didn't know how to handle. My coworker once left our team's offsite event to sit in his car. Later, he told me he was shaking, terrified his heart would blow up in front of everyone. He wasn't a poor sport. He had a panic disorder. Another friend confessed she thought about death as an option during class. Not because she wanted to die, but because it felt like an escape. These aren't quirks. They're cries for help. The scariest part? These stories aren't rare. They're everywhere. We call them moodiness, shyness, overthinking, quirkiness. But what we're really doing is surviving without help. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that if we're not falling apart on the outside, we must be fine. But mental illness doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It whispers when you cancel plans because you feel too weird to be around people. It whispers when you rewrite a text 5 times because you're scared you sound annoying. It whispers when you put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, just so you don't feel like a burden. I've seen it in friends who sleep for 17 hours to escape the noise in their heads, in people who snap at others, not because they're angry, but because their nervous system is fried. In myself, when I called myself resilient, but really, I was numb. Mental illness isn't just depression or anxiety. It's the thousands of tiny adaptations we make to survive in a world that doesn't always make space for us to feel.
For years, I thought I was just bad at being human. Now I know I was human in the most raw, struggling way. And if any of this resonates with you, I want you to hear this. You are not alone. You are not broken. And you are not being dramatic. Start small. Talk to someone you trust. Try therapy. Write in a journal. Go for a walk. Rest. Ask for help. Name your ghosts. The world doesn't need more high-functioning survivors. It needs more whole, healed people. If this video spoke to you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And in the comments below, tell me, what's a quirk you thought was just you, but later realized was something deeper? Let's bring these ghosts into the light. The silence isn't serving us anymore.
Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Together, we can start these conversations and make space for healing. I'll see you in the next one.